We've had a good couple days. We gave Sunday off, which was nice after the win at Auburn. Guys kind of got their legs up under them Monday. We had decent practice. I thought Tuesday was our hardest one. I thought it was good. Today we just did a short walkthrough, and we'll get on the bus and leave here in a few minutes. Darian was able to practice in some limited capacity, but wasn't doing 5-on-5 stuff. Provided he has another good day tomorrow morning at practice, hopefully he'll be cleared to play for the weekend, which would be great. Give us a little bit more depth if we're fortunate enough to end up playing 3 games in a row. So kind of capped the regular season. I thought, we had a really good regular season. We ended up number 1 strength of schedule in the country again, back-to-back years. We ended up with that. So I think that speaks to the level the SEC's gotten, and then obviously how we schedule the non-conference, a combination of both. But during those last 7 games that were all top 25 opponents, we had more top 25 wins in our last 7 games than every ACC school did the entire season. We had more than, in those 7 games, than 55% of Power 4 or Big East schools did the whole year. So we may not have ended up going 7-0 or 6-1, but I thought we had quality games, quality wins to end it with a road win at number 1. Mark Sears is now the first player in SEC history to beat 3 number 1 teams in his career. We won at Houston, in a neutral against Carolina, and then at Auburn. So I'd like to know how many players have won 3 games against number 1 teams, none of them being at home, 2 of them being on the road. So, I think that shows what he's capable of and how well he plays in some tough environments. And, the shot he hit, pretty good way to end your regular season career. So, happy for him. And now we're looking forward to playing well in the SEC tournament. We've won it twice since I've been here. So we're, I think we're prepared. I think we're as healthy as we've, can be. Obviously, we got a couple guys out for the year, but, the guys that Grant would be the one, he kind of missed practice going into Auburn, but if he can play like he did against Auburn, I think he looked pretty healthy that game. So, if we can get Grant Darian back at full strength and helping us, we'll be in great shape to try to win 3 in a row. And they're all good teams, but we're used to playing good teams, with the stretch that we ended the season with.
Yeah, Holloway's gone back-to-back games in single digits for the first time since December. What do you think is kind of the key to getting him going again, going into postseason play?
Yeah, he's got to be more aggressive. We got to probably find some actions to get him going. He's got to play a little bit better defense so we can keep him on the floor longer. I think a combination of all of that. The ball's got to start moving a little more, to be honest with you. I think the ball's been a little stagnant, sticky. So the more it moves, the more open shots he gets. And we've also played against some pretty good defensive teams that have really good defensive guards. So that's definitely part of it as well.
Yeah, I realize it's not this simple, but the years you won the SEC tournament, the season ends in the Sweet 16 rounds. You go one and done in the SEC tournament, you go to the Final Four. Is there can it be advantageous not to play through Sunday? I mean, I know you're a winner, but are there advantages to maybe not playing the entire time?
There may be. We also went one and done in Tampa, and then went one and done in the NCAA tournament too. So, it's gone all different ways. We're going to try to win it. We're trying to win championships. We've won more championships in the SEC than anybody else since I've been here. This is a championship we're trying to win. If we don't end up winning it, there'll be some, like you said, some positives we'll try to sell the guys on. But that's not the goal. The goal is go there, win 3 in a row, win a championship, and have ourselves playing on a run going into the NCAA tournament.
I kind of look back and, your first year here, you guys went 3-5 in games decided by 5 points or less. You've been well above 500 every year since then. Curious, when you think back, outside of it being your first year, what kind of adjustments did you maybe make then? Did you kind of take a look at evaluating how you play in those close games, and how do you think your philosophy has kind of grown in the years since?
Yeah, you know what? We looked at it too, and that was 3 and 5 in one possession games. Is that what you said? 5 points or less. Yeah, so we looked at, I think, 2 possession or less, which would be 6 points or less. And I think whatever the record was in year one, and I don't have it off the top of my head, I think we literally exactly flipped it upside down the other way in year two. We did take a look at that, strong look in the offseason. What can we improve on? You know, some margin wins, if you will, you know, and we actually started doing a lot more into game situation. We had a lot more into game, like randomized stuff where whatever it ends up in, and trying to teach the guys through stuff like that. We've kept doing it that way since then. You know, I didn't think we did a very good job with Tennessee, and really that from mainly me against Tennessee, and I didn't do a great job. I was a little disappointed in myself with how we finished Tennessee. I thought we did a much better job against Auburn, and there was still stuff we should have done better. We didn't close that one out like we needed to. We were fortunate to get the win, but it was significantly better than what we'd done against Tennessee. The hope is that going into the SEC tournament, we're even better, but we have paid a lot of attention to it. Mainly today's walkthrough was a lot of end-of-game situational stuff. If we end up in this spot, here's what we're looking to get, running through some of that stuff. So we paid a lot more attention to it. We've gotten a lot better with it, and it obviously helps to have better players, which I think we've had. So a combination of a lot of things.
Last Saturday, Filan had a big steal in the open floor late in the game, took it back for a layup. How is his – I know he's been scoring more, but what about his defense? How has that looked lately?
A lot better. Honestly, I mean, yeah, that was a huge play in that Auburn game. When it was a tight game, would take a free point. So I think his defense has gotten significantly better over the last few weeks here. We've kind of challenged him. I thought when we put him in a starting lineup, you know, as a team offensively, we've gotten better, but he needed to pick his defense up. It had been better earlier in the year, and I think he's got both sides of the ball going right now. So we needed to keep going that way. I thought, you know, Miles Kelly had been coming out of the gate on a tear with a lot of games, not just against us, other teams. I thought he did a pretty good job on him, and he's one of those guys that can move well. He's got size. He can guard off guards, wings, running off screen action. He can also guard point guards like you referenced and pressure the ball and take it from him. So I think it's a big reason why NBA teams are really high on him, just because he's such a great defensive guard in addition to being really talented on offense.
Yeah, kind of on that, you've got LeBaron, Darian Reed, Aiden Sherrill. Do you feel like your ceiling, just with how some of the youth you have, is higher than maybe some of these other teams that are competing for the elite status?
You know what? I do feel like our ceiling's high. I don't feel like we've been as healthy as we'd like to have been most of the year. I feel like we're getting healthy. Obviously, with Darian missing all the reps that he's missed, it's a little harder. But, I mean, he's got really high upside with how athletic he is, how smart he is, and how hard he plays. So, and, you know, he's knocking some of the rust off in practice. But, yeah, LeBaron's you got to see. And you listed LeBaron, Aiden, and Darian. Yeah, Jaron Stevenson's the same age as those guys, are younger than some of them. So he should be a freshman in college this year, which a lot of people forget. So you've got 4 guys that are strong in the rotation that are either freshmen or should be freshmen, you know, out of really 10 guys in the rotation. You also got Mo Diabate, who didn't play a ton last year. It's playing a lot more this year. So it's half our rotation is kind of first-year or second-year guys that are same age as a freshman or just for the first time playing decent minutes. So, you know, and then on the other side of it, you got fifth-year seniors with a lot of experience that have been in these big games to kind of give us the confidence. I mean, think about all the huge shots Sears has hit. Grant Nelson's played huge in the biggest games of his career here. Talking to Cliff about Big Ten tournament games he's been in, and Youngblood's been player of the year. Kind of go down that list of some of those guys. You know, Holloway's kind of a guy with the upside that's playing more minutes now than he was a freshman. So I like our ceiling. At this point of the year, nobody's really talking about ceilings. It's your production as to what you're getting done now. So, yeah, do we still have room to improve? 100%, but there's no time to talk about potential and ceilings anymore. We gotta win, or we're gonna be sitting at home.
Yeah, you mentioned Holloway, but is there really another player or two that you really want to step up over the next few days?
Yeah, I think Jaron Stevenson's one that's got a lot more that he can give us. He's given us. I got to do a better job getting it out of him, putting him in position to succeed. So, Jaron, Holloway would be two that I think, and then I think Mo Diabate's one that has shown what he's capable of. I think hasn't quite been as good as he could have been here for these last few weeks. And he won us the Grand Canyon game. He's a guy that just gives us something a lot different than pretty much anybody else on the roster. So we need that out of him. There may be a SEC tournament game, an NCAA tournament game where he's the only guy that can do what he does and comes in and sparks us and gives us a win. So we kind of need, you mentioned Aiden, but I think Jaron and Mo D can really step it up and give us something else that nobody else on the team can really give us other than what those two can. Jaron's a guy that's guarded R.J. Davis. He's guarded Hubbard. He's guarding some of the best guards in the country. He can guard 1 through 4, even 1 through 5, depending on who your 5 is. And offensively, he's got a lot of upside. He's been shooting it really well since December, and driving it downhill, finishing at the rim. So, yeah, if we get all those guys playing their best basketball, we've got pretty high ceiling. Like I said, nobody really cares what your ceiling is. You got to go get some production done, though, in these next 3 games here this weekend.
At one point on Saturday in the second half, Auburn got up 5. The crowd's starting to get into it, and then your team kind of responded with a run. It seems like this team's been pretty good at not folding in some of these tense situations this year. Do you think that that's because of all the veterans on the team, and maybe kind of how valuable can that be in the postseason?
Yeah, I think that helps. I also think some of the young guys got a little bit of toughness. LeBaron stepped up in some big moments, so he's a freshman that's young, but he's got that kind of it factor, if you will, like big moments, big games. I don't think Jaron gets too rattled. He's pretty straight, even keeled. Mo Diabate's a pretty tough kid that's been in some tough environments in his career. So I think the makeup of a lot of these guys, including some guys that have been in a lot of games that have seen us be down, you think about our team from last year with Grant hitting the 2 huge threes late in the game against Georgia at Georgia when we probably should have won that game. But they've been in those games where maybe we shouldn't have won, come back, got the win. They've seen it happen before. They've been in games where, we just need to. You go back to Sears, talking about 3 wins over AP number 1 teams. You talk about the Houston one 2 years ago at their place when we're down, was it 15 in the second half? Maybe I can't remember exactly. It was a lot in the second half. Came back and won 4 overtimes with Carolina. Had all kinds of stuff, and he, never quit in either of those and kept fighting. So we've got some guys that have been battle tested, and we've got some guys that just have some savvy about them to stay in those games and make plays, and you're going to need that to make runs here in March. So good seeing you. We'll see you guys in Nashville.